Hey everybody, Cameron from Audi C7 Owners with another DIY for you today. And today's video is sponsored by Black Forest Industries of Raleigh, North Carolina. They're a big name in the Volkswagen Audi community, and being a North Carolina resident, I'm super stoked that they sent over one of their GS2 leather shift knobs for me to install on the C7. I've been a longtime customer there, especially when I lived up in Raleigh. So big shout out to Black Forest Industries. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what comes in the box. All this stuff comes in this nice fancy box from Black Forest Industries. I've got it all laid out here for you to see. What comes with the kit: your shift knob, zip tie, set screws, 2 Allen wrenches, your coin for the top of the shift knob, your shift adapter with another set screw. The only thing you really need to provide is some blue Loctite and a trim tool. Don't need really any special tools to do this. It should be relatively straightforward and easy. Additionally, this should work on all C7 cars, whether you have a DSG or a ZF8. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera over to the car and show you how to take off your OEM shift knob. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is remove the boot from the actual control unit itself, and this is really easy to do. You can use a small trim tool to get in here and pry it up. You can even grab the boot and pull it in and get it to come out, but it's a lot easier with a trim tool. So once it's up, you're gonna bring the boot all the way up like this, and then there's a locking mechanism here on the bottom, and I'm gonna reposition the camera so you can see that. Our cars are a little bit easier than others. Some others have a metal retaining clip that you have to actually clip off. Ours just have this twist lock that you turn to the left and it unlocks it. Once you do that, you pull up really hard on the handle and it comes off. Now, I've taken mine off a couple times, so mine came off really easily. If this is the first time you've done it, it might take a little bit more force to pull off, but you shouldn't have really any big issues getting it off. So now that we have this removed from the car, we're gonna take it to the workbench and replace the shift knob. The next step is to remove the shift knob from the actual OEM boot. So what we need to do is first pull off this retaining pin here. This just kind of slides off, so you just want to grab it firmly, kind of wiggle it around, and it will eventually come off. So we'll set that aside. And then after that, we need to remove this plastic piece that holds the boot off of the shift knob. And you can see there are these like 4 pins in here. And what you basically have to do is just make sure those are pinched in. And what I found is just grabbing it at the base here and pulling it off with a slow twist, and that will pull the entire shift knob assembly off of the shift boot. Real quick, one last piece, you need to remove this little tab here that just comes off of the shift knob. There's this hard piece that this just rests in. So you just need to pull that off, and now we can start to assemble the shift knob. So first thing we need to do is set up our shift adapter, and what we're going to do is apply a little blue Loctite to the set screws for this. There's 2 of them, and we're going to get them started in this but not tightened at all. And if you look at this closely, there's actually a flared in and then a non-flared side, and that's on both sides. So obviously the part of the set screw with the large head, you're going to go in through the flared side. We're just going to put it in here and just get it slightly started. I'm not going to tighten down at all. I'm going to do that for both sides. Okay, so now we're going to take this over to the car and get this attached onto the car. Okay, so once we have our set screws started, and we've got them started on not only the top one but the 2 bottom ones here, so that they're pretty easy to work with here, we need to get our adapter onto the actual shift assembly. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to slide this down over. Now you can see the little hole here. This set screw has to go through the hole in the plastic shift assembly. So I'm going to bring it down, push it over, and what I'm going to do, you can see how this comes out of the top here. To get this aligned correctly, I'm going to have this piece flush with the top of the adapter. So I'm going to kind of use my finger there, and then I'm going to start spinning in the set screw, which you obviously cannot see from your side, but I've got it in there, and that's how I know I've got it aligned. So once I get that all the way in, I'm going to use the supplied Allen key from Black Forest. And I'm going to spin that set screw all the way through until it comes out the other side and it's flush on this side of the adapter. All right, so we've got that. When I pull up on this, it holds on to that plastic part of the shift assembly, and that's what's going to allow us to lift up and bring it back and change gears. But now we have to figure out how we want this set onto the car. And what I would suggest is bring it up as far up as you can without lifting the plastic shift assembly, and that's where I would set it down. So bring this up to where it stops naturally on the adapter, and that's where I'm going to tighten these screws down, once again using the supplied Allen key from Black Forest. And remember, when you tighten these down, you want to go back and forth. Don't tighten one side and then the other, because that would create an uneven amount of pressure on the shift adapter. You don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get these all the way tightened down, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, at this point, you can see that when we pull up on this, the shift adapter doesn't move at all. We'll go ahead and put the car just in the power state so we can test this to make sure it shifts correctly while using this before we put it all back together. So, put our foot on the brake, lift this up, and it shifts just perfectly. So now we're going to start to put together the boot back onto this and then eventually get the knob on. All right, so we've confirmed that this is fully functional and ready to go. We just need to get our boot back on. Now, when you put the boot back on, you're going to see stitching, and your stitching is off center. You want your stitching to be on the side with your PRNDS indications. So we're going to set this down over. What you want, there's this little lip here on the bottom of the adapter, and you want this to go right down over that lip, but you don't want to cover up the part of the adapter that has the screws. You just want to get it right there. And then once you have that down, you want to use the supplied zip tie, and you want to come in and secure this boot with the zip tie underneath that little lip. And that's what's going to hold your boot to the adapter assembly. Now, if it's not perfectly straight with your stitching, don't worry, you'll be able to adjust it afterwards. Once you get it as tight as you can, go ahead and trim your zip tie. And then after you've trimmed it, you can bring your boot back down. And honestly, this might be a little bit easier if you bring your shift assembly back a little bit, but you can still do it in park. We just set that down. And after that, you can adjust the leather. And now all you have to do is install the knob. Okay, so now we just attach our shift knob, which is super simple. We're going to just take it and spin it on until it's all the way down. Make sure it's nice and secure. Okay, so the last step is to add the Black Forest Industries decorative coin on top. And to do this, we remove the double-sided adhesive off the back. So there's nothing in the way there. And then we place this in the center and try and do your best job to line it up as possible. It might help if you shift this back some. So we're going to get this as centered as possible. Press it down. And that is how you install your Black Forest Industries GS2 shift knob. Okay, so what are my overall thoughts now on having this installed in the car? I've been driving with this installed in the car now for a week, and I gotta say, I enjoy it way more than I thought I was going to. I honestly looked at this as a purely cosmetic upgrade for the vehicle, especially since this is an automatic. But having driven it with it for a week, it what I think it's doing for me mentally is reminding me of when I did have a 6-speed Volkswagen. It's the same type of feel, the same almost like exact size as an OEM Volkswagen Audi shift knob. It feels great. The leather feels wonderful. And every person who's gotten into the car, and I took it to a car show last weekend, every single person who's gotten inside has noticed it and said something about it. It really does complement the car a lot. So I think you guys would be really, really happy if you're looking for an upgrade, because I really did not like the OEM shift knob. It was really, really bad. And there's not really many good options out there. You know, you've got your cheap eBay ones, and I don't want to put something like that in here. So BFI makes a great product. Thank you again to Black Forest Industries for sending this over and having us do this video showing how to install it for ZF 8-speed transmissions. There might be some small differences with the DSG transmissions when it comes to installing this on another C7, but I think overall it should be very, very close to being the exact same process. Looking forward to working with BFI again in the future to bring you guys more videos on products on the C7. If you guys have anything you'd like to see, let us know in the comments. And otherwise, if you have any questions, obviously leave them in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next DIY video.